What's up, everyone? Jacob Rothenberg here. Just drank some Rockstar Energy, and I'm really buzzed right now. This is not fake excitement. I'm just really happy to give you this lesson on how to get better at keyword research. So, whether you're a beginner, you're intermediate, or advanced, I got you covered. Oh, I should drink a Rockstar every video. I got you covered, and we are going to just get you better at keyword research right now. 5 slide presentation. I always say it's not going to be too long. It always goes long. But hey, let's educate you right now. Let's go. For beginners in Kindle publishing, I want to keep this real simple. So if you're just literally starting out with Kindle publishing, maybe it's your first or second month ever with publishing and like understanding, okay, what keyword research even is. Okay, what I want you to do is find and choose a methodology that works. So, I mean, there's so many methodologies out there, and a few of them do work pretty well. The most basic one taught in, I'd say, the majority of Kindle publishing, self-publishing courses is to look at the ebooks, the ebook segment of the Amazon market, and for a keyword, see if the first 6 products on a page result have a bestseller ranking of under 100,000, and if they do, go ahead and publish for that keyword. That's an okay strategy. Starting out, I think I could advocate following that if you just want to get started with like making money. Like if you want to make $100 your first month with one book, that's definitely something possible with following something like this. Of course, you have to take things into consideration also, like having a book that is of quality and can contend with the first 6 products you see. But on the most basic level with keyword research, this methodology of itself works just fine with getting started. Now, if you've been on my channel and if you have some familiarity with what I specialize in, I'm the self-proclaimed paperback guru. You know, the Mickelson twins, they're the audiobook emperors. Mecca, he's the blueprint guy. Jacob, he's keywords and he is paperbacks. I've made as much as, $4,100 in 1 month with one paperback, and I've done that a few times over. So I know what I'm doing with making money off of paperbacks and keyword research that maximizes how much potential I can earn from a single paperback book. So I have my own methodology. I have it out there in either my other videos here free on YouTube, or you can go on the Elite Keyword Mastermind for how I do my keyword research. Not trying to upsell you, just letting you know. That's where I have my criteria done and how I do things there in the keywordmastermind.com. And otherwise, for audiobooks, you can also look at my other videos on how to assess keywords and then filter them using the audiobook only filter and seeing how many books you actually have to compete against for your keyword research. So different methodologies out there, they all work. Now, after that, in tandem with that, you have to practice your keyword research. Practice, but don't only practice. Don't just theoretically play around on the search engine. You actually need to publish books. Now, starting out, when you publish books, your first book is probably going to suck. Your second book is probably going to suck. Your third book will probably really suck. And then your fourth book might do better. So why I say this is that you absolutely have to make mistakes starting out. It's the only way you learn about what you did possibly right and what you're doing wrong with your strategy, with your formulation of how you came up with a title, of how you conducted your keyword research in the first place that led to you to publish for a given book. And that's really what it takes. It's like, the so-called learning tax, the learning tuition. It's all part of the journey in becoming good at Kindle publishing. So I know as cliche as it sounds, you really have to just spend some money and put your entrees out there and see what works and what doesn't. But tell you what, as a beginner, if you're starting out with Kindle publishing, just know you will eventually, someday, somehow reach success with one book, with your first keyword. It will happen. Trust me, it will happen. Don't get discouraged if that's how you're feeling now. It will happen. Once you have that moment in your life, after you're done celebrating, analyze what you did correctly, okay? Like think back, okay, how did I even come up with this keyword? What was I looking for? What criteria did I use? What value proposition did I give this book that seems to be selling so well? And what can I learn from this? What can I learn with how I formulated and strategized everything with this book and with this associated keyword? What went right? And once you figure that out, repeat that process again. You might want to even just make a second book for that given keyword. Hell, and just do it over again. I mean, it's very likely you'll make money with that second book in the keyword where you were profitable with your first. So, repeat and rinse after that. It's all about just getting your practice and experience in and publishing and learning what works and what doesn't for you. Now, for intermediates, for those of you who are seeing some success with Kindle publishing, maybe you're making, $500 a month, maybe $1,000 a month, or maybe you're up to, I would say this is still intermediate level. Let's say you're closing in on $2,000 a month. I still consider that to be intermediate because you can get lucky. Sometimes it's just a couple books doing well for a given month or two. What you need to do to get to a truly advanced level with keyword research and what'll push you to making more money is you got to further develop your analytical ability. So no longer are you just going to follow a certain methodology that's cookie cutter. You might want to add your own criteria that works for you with what keywords you choose to publish for. So, everyone has their own styles. Everyone has their own niches. Someone might want to focus on traditional nonfiction books that can sell long term. Some people, like me, chose now to publish for books that are based on short-term fads and just milk the hell out of it. Some people like to do low-content keywords and just rely on an insane amount of output of books released per month in order to make money. Just got to add more criteria on what'll make you further successful with your given strategy. So examples of what to add criteria to add. Hey, can this book that I'm publishing perform long term, or is it going to be a short term play? And if I don't want to make this a short term play, and this is what I see it as, what other keywords can I come up with that will be incongruent with my strategy? What will still be going along with my overall vision, with not just my publishing but my business for what I'm wanting to publish for? Make that part of your mix, part of your formula for your keyword research. And also, especially for short-term fads, can you predict truly whether more publishers will produce for your keyword? So, case in point, I knew it. I knew this would happen with the cryptocurrency Ethereum. I was, believe it or not, the second ever self-published author for Ethereum. I knew what cryptocurrency was. I knew what Bitcoin was for years. I knew that it would be getting to be a super hot topic, and I knew I had only literally a few weeks until everyone bombarded Ethereum and cryptocurrency as it gained to more worldwide prominence. So I was able to predict, okay, this book is going to do really well, yet I know publishers are going to hound on this. So I got to hurry up with this book. I'm going to pay the rush fee. I'm just going to make it a 12,000 word book because I can't afford to spend more time getting it done with a longer title. I'm just going to have to make a short-term play here. And after that, move on to something else. And that's exactly what I did. And that book made me a few $1,000s. And I must have spent around maybe $300 to produce it. So that was a good short-term play for a couple months, along with the audiobook. And also, when you're looking at keywords, let's say you're looking at a keyword and you see it as having potential, okay? But what other criteria can you use for the production of your book as you're doing the keyword research? What I think of, and I'll give you a very specific example. When I'm looking at a search result, are the current books that I see on page 1 of a search result, if I were a customer, would I actually buy these books? Okay, and yes, likely if they're selling well, I would be likely to buy that book. Based on what I see with the cover, the marketing description, the price, would I be happy afterwards with buying that book, or would I still want more, or would there still be something lacking that I can see on the outside picture? And if I can see that, what can I produce that is worthy or more worthy of buying for customers that can steal away from the competition? Okay, and to give you a specific example, that's what I did with Fidget Spinner Tricks last year of 2017. So there were like these 2 books on fidget spinner tricks. They were selling extremely, extremely well, super well, like 5,000 BSR, like ridiculously well. But what I noticed, there were 2 books. They each only taught 25 tricks, and they were getting like 1-2 star reviews, despite selling well. So I was like, oh my gosh, I need to publish for this book right now. So, true story. This is when I was starting out with publishing, so don't judge me too hard. But I published a 5,000 word book that was still longer than my competitors. It had, 50 tricks in comparison to the 20 or 25 that were out prior. Double the content of what was out prior, better looking cover, more competitive price, because I knew that price would be of contention for something high volume. And I knew that my book would be more value of purchase compared to the other 2 fidget spinner books, and I became the #1 bestseller for fidget spinner tricks on Amazon, and that's how I got my foothold with the business. And I made a couple $1,000s there. It was my first book. I spent $160. It was my fastest ROI play. I made my $160 back in 6 days of releasing that book. And I was still a beginner. Like, had I done it all over again, I could have probably done it in like 2 or 3. But yeah, you just got to be able to add more criteria to your keyword and be more strategic. Like, have an outlook, have a vision of how the future is going to play, and formulate what you need to do so that you have success in the future. Now, for the advanced, and this is really talking now more so to the top 5% of publishers. This is actually including me. Like, I'm gonna just throw myself in here because, hey, I can. But I'm actually talking to myself now as I'm giving out this advice. So this is advice that I think the one person who, well, 2 people who I can think of that have actually, like, I wouldn't say even mastered, but they have, they understand this concept and they've implemented it fully and successfully for their business with self-publishing. Those 2 people would be Emeka and Keisha Armstrong from within the Blueprint, and we met at the Cancun Mastermind. Don't know if she wants me to tell how much she makes, or how well she does and how ridiculous the whole business is, but she is probably the top publisher that the top self-publisher I've ever met that really knows her stuff. Like, probably the best self-published. Yeah, she has to be the best. I can explain further why, but she probably doesn't want to give me the permission to give those details. I didn't ask, so I'll just shut up and move on. So for the advanced, if you're watching this video, how to move on further with your business, okay? No longer is it just going to be about the keywords and the keyword research. You already know how to perform keyword research. You know how to find profitable keywords. You're advanced if you're at the point to where you no longer need a coach to learn publishing. Like, if you don't see any purpose whatsoever in hiring a coach for, like, publishing, like short-term mechanics or what you need to do step by step for any aspect of the business, you are advanced, and you hopefully are at an income level where this is substantiated. So, like, I just don't see a point in hiring anyone for publishing, for coaching. Now, could I get coaching on business or how I run my business? Absolutely. But as far as publishing, I can coach myself. I'm good at that. So at this level, it's all about your long-term publishing strategy. And if you have a good long-term publishing strategy, like, how's it going to play out? Like, do you have a structure? How involved are you with the business? Are you involved working on it 16 hours a day? And if so, like, how is that actually going to be sustainable? Is that something you want to do? If not, how can you take away yourself more from the publishing business and make it more of a real business that doesn't involve you? So then that would come to like formulating a structure for hiring a chief operation officer or a VA manager and working with a network of VAs to run every aspect of the business. Or if it's with your strategy with how you actually publish books, I'll be very transparent and candid. Like for me, everyone knows this. This is pretty open. I am really good with short-term fad books. So that has its problems too, right? So income can go really, really up, and then it can go down the next month. So what do I need to do to shift my strategy and make it more sustainable long-term? Like, how can I make my business more sustainable long-term? And the answer to that is, yeah, I can definitely make plays off of short-term books, and I still will. But moving forward, I really now need to shift my overall vision of the business. Not just with keywords that I look at, but the overall vision of the business to where I'm getting involved with keywords that are more evergreen, more long-term, that are going to be sustainable for sales. And not just get involved with those keywords, but strategy, like come up with the optimal strategies to make money for those kinds of keywords and be good at it. And that's where I am right now with the business. That's why I have stopped mentioning newer books after creating my second account, because it's just too good. It's the new direction going forward that I'm teaching in my new course. More on that later. Now, this is something special because I have a student who is focusing on low content books, or was focusing, and that is fine. And I personally, it's not my thing, but I can definitely see it working and how it works. It's just that you need to either output such a ridiculous amount of books by yourself, like what I would say at least 200 books a month minimum, if you're really serious about making money from it, like actually quitting your job serious. Like, it sounds ridiculous, but that's what it would take. Or you come up with a structure again, like a business hierarchy of VAs or managers that you can use to run such a business where you have to have such a high output for content with as little of your involvement as possible. And that could be a little pricey. So that's something you have to figure out with your business as far as how it would operate. Or you can decide, hey, shit, maybe this is not the business that I want to run long term, or this is not the strategy that I can see myself sustaining. Maybe I need to shift to a different strategy overall. And that's what you got to do too. So this is the level where you either decide, hey, I got to start all over again because my strategy sucked, or you're like, okay, somehow I followed the right path all along, and now because I have the right path in front of me, how do I scale this baby? How do I get to making 15K, 20K, and beyond that? Then this is the ultimate. How do I make this business in congruence to my preferred lifestyle? So you could be like someone who values, absolute freedom, loves to travel year round, just wants to be absolutely free with no home base. You just want to travel. You might want to have a strategy to where your books are sustainable with sales month to month. You could theoretically want to be able to not publish for like 3 or 4 months and still have a good income coming in. That's possible if you have books in place that are involved with keywords that are long-term plays. So it is possible. Now, most Kindle publishers, myself included, have the issue of books that die out over time and having to be in this perpetual treadmill of continuing to publish books, okay? So then you have to figure out, A, do I want to continue this treadmill? I do, because I'm getting too fat. But yeah, do I want to continue on with this treadmill? Do I want to continue this, or do I want to maybe work a little bit smarter and not stay on this perpetual, like, you'll always have to publish books, but do you want to still have to struggle with breaking a certain income level month to month because your books die out? Or can you shift your strategy to something that could work more long term, where maybe in the short term, you're not making that much money off the bat per month, but it's at least sustainable and even. That's something you got to figure out. Or if you want to be the short-term fad guy, hey, you just got to be able to publish like crazy and just find every fad and publish 5 to 10 books a month and just hit it hard. So it's up to you. So that's all I've got, guys. Oh, one more thing. If you want, because hey, I'm making this slide because I got to tell you something. Okay, now because I'm at this level to where I have the business set up, I know and I've seen what works and what doesn't from literally talking and messaging, speaking with, at this point, literally hundreds of people, hundreds of students overall in the self-publishing circle. I know what works long-term, what doesn't work long-term, and just because you're making money now doesn't mean that you're going to have the ideal publishing business a year down the road, 2 years down the road. You are only seeing so much of the present without understanding fully what you're in for in the future. And that's something that happened with me, with my business. So, is it possible to make that shift midway? Is it possible? Absolutely. Is it a pain in the ass? Yes, because you have to relearn certain things over. Or would you prefer, if you're starting out especially, to do things the right way, all the right things the right way from the very beginning, and be able to get to a business that's making $2,000 a month as quickly as possible? And I'm not going to make income claims, but ideally, let's say whether it takes 1 year or if it takes 100 years, you get to the point where you're making $10K a month that is sustainable and can run without you involved. How would you like to do that? Okay, now I have that in the form of coaching that I give one-on-one to my students. That's what I'm working on with myself alongside with my students. Not just making more money, but making it a business that'll succeed long-term. Because that's what this is really all about. I don't think you want to be a Kindle publisher. I don't think you're really in love with publishing. Unless you are, then that's cool. But I know you're doing this more so as a business opportunity. So you got to decide now. Do you want to be a Kindle publisher and do this for the rest of your life? That's fine. Or do you want to be a business person who understands business and wants to implement everything the right way, understanding what exact keywords, under certain criteria you need to look for, and be able to build a business that'll be able to be scalable, sustainable, and run with as little of your involvement as possible in time? I have that for you. If you're not in coaching with me one-on-one, I understand not everyone can afford coaching at this time. So I'm going to be releasing a new course in 6 days. Revivali. That is, I reveal in Latin. I don't know why I had to choose the Latin keyword. I just thought it would be pretty cool. But what this coach is essentially me in the form of a course telling you step by step, do this, do that, don't do that, don't do that, do this instead. Or if this happens, do this instead. I tell you from beginning to end, not only how to find the right keywords, what to publish for, what to put in your books, how to set up your books, but I also give out the Triforce strategy that I use to dominate the saturated keywords that are very obvious that everyone knows for. How am I able to give out keywords out on my YouTube channel and still be number one? Have you ever thought about that? How can I be so stupid to give out my keywords and my book titles on YouTube? Okay, I do it. I've been doing it for months. Why am I still number one when everyone knows it and everyone tries to compete against me? I must be doing something right. I must know something that you all don't. And so with Triforce, I'm revealing that to you. What exactly am I doing to stay number one and make thousands of dollars per month from as few books as possible? How am I doing it even though everyone knows what books I publish for? And how am I doing it with literally hundreds of competitors? I teach you that in the course. So 6 days, guys. October 26th, Friday, 5 p.m. in the West, 8 p.m. in the East in the United States. The course for 24 hours, the first 24 hours will be released at the price of $197. $197. That is honestly too low of a price. It's undervalued, underpriced, but there's no excuse if you can't afford a $200 course, a $197 course. You're not serious about publishing. So it's really more of seeing how serious you are and making sure it goes out to the right people. If you are serious about publishing, there's no excuse as to why you can't afford a $197 course. That's going to take you to the next level and beyond. So that's what it's really all about. And along with that, I'll be running some specials on coaching on that day. Afterwards, the price goes up to $297, which is still of great, incredible value. And for members in the Elite Keyword Mastermind, the course stays permanently at $197. So if you miss the Friday special, don't worry. You can always join the Elite Keyword Mastermind and get the course for $197. So I'll have more details. I had details in yesterday's video. I'll have more for you guys soon. Stay tuned. Have a good one.